After I gave birth, my husband Marcus finally fulfilled his promise and took me abroad for a change of scenery. But as soon as we got off the flight, he disappeared. I wandered alone in an unfamiliar country, unable to reach him on his phone. 2 hours later, though, I accidentally stumbled upon a social media post from his childhood friend. It was a sweet photo of her and my husband feeding each other ice cream. The caption read, "The one who cares about you most will always keep you in their heart, no matter where they are." I remained silent for a long time before finally leaving a comment. "Let him keep you in his heart forever." I left the divorce papers and walked away, but my husband, who had always been so indifferent to me, panicked this time. Wandering alone on 10th Avenue in the US, I never knew a person could feel so utterly desperate. Marcus had strung me along like an idiot, leaving me feeling like a ridiculous, lost dog. I still had the message he'd just sent me on my phone. "Grace, something urgent came up at the company. I have to go back." It seemed especially absurd when contrasted with Amber's social media post. In the photo, Marcus, who was always so serious with me, was sweetly feeding her ice cream. "The one who cares about you most will always keep you in their heart, even if they go to the ends of the earth." Beneath it were cutting comments from her friends. "Some women just can't keep a man, even after having his child." I had been hearing such cynical remarks for 5 years. The northwest wind in Northern City was biting. I sniffled, my hands trembling from the cold. Meanwhile, the people in the photo were enjoying the warmth of summer, romantic and happy. I smiled, then typed out the comment, word for word. "Then let Marcus keep you in his heart forever. Marcus, this time, I don't want you." The weather was cold, there was no signal at the airport, and my flight was delayed. To make matters worse, my phone had only 3 bars of battery left. It completely shut off shortly after I finally managed to buy a ticket. I smiled, a bit self-deprecatingly. I had been waiting, wondering if Marcus would send me a message or call me after seeing that comment. I stood still, gripping my phone, like a tree stump on 10th Avenue. For 2 whole hours, all I saw was heartfelt support for his and Amber's happiness. I felt as if I could see their mocking glances. Salty liquid streamed to the corners of my mouth. I couldn't hold back any longer, rushing into the airport restroom and bursting into tears. Many people were catching flights that night, and strangers walked past me with strange looks, a mixture of pity and disgust. Just like how Marcus used to look at me. Because I had just given birth, my body was still very weak. Standing in the northern wind for 4 hours, without any food or water, I was on the verge of collapsing. "Ma'am, do you need any help?" Someone nearby asked me in broken Chinese, but it only made me feel more pain. Because had never once offered me even such common concern. My mind replayed my pathetic attempts to beg him to come home, watching him confine me to the house like a dog, telling me not to be so cheap. Yes, in front of him, even breathing was a mistake. What was the point of my life anyway? I closed my eyes in despair. I fainted at the airport, due to anemia and excessive grief. When I woke up, the airport staff had already taken me to the hospital. The doctor treating me was a Chinese-American man, and I finally got to borrow a phone. I knew this time I had to put an end to things with him, and calmly dialed a number. "Please prepare the divorce papers for me. No conditions, except for our child. Just send them directly to him on my behalf." Ethan, my childhood friend, was startled by my sudden decision. But he still comforted me, saying, "Okay, we won't stay with him. Grace, you've scared me these past few days. I couldn't reach you. Anyway, take good care of yourself. I'll handle the divorce for you." After the call, I completed the discharge procedures as quickly as possible. I knew I couldn't stay down like this. Zoe was only 3 months old. I had to fight with all my might to take her away. She was the only light in my life. But what I hadn't expected was that Marcus called me just before boarding. The phone rang for a long, long time, and I stared at it for a long, long time in silence. Until he finally hung up. I couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief, then laughed freely. It was the first time I'd hung up on him. Turns out, doing whatever I wanted felt this good. But I knew Marcus would never let me go. So, when I opened the door and saw him glaring at me, his eyes bloodshot, I wasn't surprised. "Grace, you're really something." "What?" I coldly dismissed him, changed my shoes, and went upstairs. He probably couldn't stand being ignored. Marcus picked up the ashtray from the coffee table and threw it at me. It hit me squarely on the temple. Intense pain quickly spread through my nerves, but at that moment, all I could think was, what if I go upstairs looking like this and scare Zoe? Marcus probably hadn't expected his aim to be so good. His tone was clearly flustered. "Grace, are you okay?" I didn't mean to, I was just a bit worked up. I'll go get the first aid kit for you. First aid kit? Do you even know where the first aid kit is? Marcus's words couldn't help but make me laugh. His mind had always been focused solely on Amber, so his sudden concern for me was genuinely surprising. I took the first aid kit from the storage room, bandaged myself up quickly, and went upstairs. Marcus didn't say anything more, but he silently followed me. In the nursery, my little darling was happily playing with her toy. Suddenly, I felt a pang of sadness. She was so young and already had to face the fact that her parents were divorcing. Only after Zoe had fallen asleep did I quietly leave the room. How's the divorce papers looking? I lightly raised my eyes and spoke to Marcus with a hint of impatience. Marcus's eyes suddenly reddened. What do you mean? We've been married for 5 years, and now you're pulling this stunt? Grace, you're not a child. I've had enough of this childish drama 5 years ago. When will you mature, like Amber? Amber, always that woman. I couldn't stand it anymore and slapped the man who had betrayed my true feelings for so many years. Are you done talking? Marcus, please act like an adult and deal with the problem. The divorce papers I gave you were drafted by a lawyer. All you talk about is Amber. Do you want me to have my lawyer look for evidence of your infidelity? I've had enough during these years of marriage to you, and I don't want my child to suffer with you anymore. And please, don't be unreasonable with me, okay? Marcus, who had just been so aggressive, suddenly softened. He looked at me in disbelief, as if I were the one who had betrayed him. Grace, how many times have I told you? Amber and I are just friends, there's nothing going on between us. Why do you always have to make a scene? I promised a trip abroad but didn't go with you. I was wrong, but that's because Amber had an accident. Honestly, I found talking to such a person pointless. I wasn't interested in hearing about his and Amber's love-hate drama. Jealousy had long ceased to matter to me. My heart was already like dead ashes, completely dead. Marcus's little spark couldn't ignite anything there. I walked into my room and started packing my usual belongings. Marcus followed me in again, like a clingy pest, disgusting. Sure enough, he saw my packing and started to blame me as usual. Grace, I've really given you too much leeway. How many chances have I given you today to back down? Why can't you just admit you're wrong, humble yourself, and apologize? And now you're packing your luggage. Who are you putting on this act for? Isn't it enough? If you go too far, just get out of this house and never come back. Luckily, my mindset was strong enough now. The old me would have probably begged for his forgiveness like a pathetic dog, running eagerly to him upon hearing those words. I'll leave. Please discuss the property division with my lawyer, Ethan. I didn't even spare Marcus a glance, continuing to pack my luggage on my own. I also had to take Zoe's things. Our family's bloodline wouldn't allow anyone else to taint it, even if I had once loved Marcus to my core. Marcus left again. I knew who he was going to see. Because had just called, saying she was out drinking, and my legally wedded husband was worried she'd hurt herself, so he went to accompany her. That sweet yet petulant voice was something I could never learn to mimic. Marcus, is Grace angry? It's all my fault. You two were on a trip, and I had to interrupt, but I really didn't mean to. Can you please ask her to forgive me? Marcus was already in a foul mood, and her words naturally made him even more furious with me. What are you sorry for? I was the one who offered to come be with you. What does that have to do with you? Grace, that woman doesn't know what's good for her. She's not worth your trouble. Marcus was talking on the phone right outside my room, his voice loud, as if he meant for me to hear it. But my heart had already been shattered into pieces by him. I would never again throw tantrums or be jealous. Seeing my lack of reaction, Marcus got very angry and slammed the door shut when he left. I finally relaxed. Dealing with such a powder keg every day, my nerves were constantly frayed. I was almost having a nervous breakdown. It was good that he left. I could finally pack my luggage in peace. I called a moving company, dismissed the nanny, and took Zoe with me on the car back to my hometown. My little darling giggled in my arms, as if she knew that only her mother loved her the most, melting my heart to see her. I had already signed the divorce papers on the coffee table and placed them back there. I wanted to send Marcus a text message, but then realized I had been blocked. No matter. I wouldn't send it then. From today onwards, I would live a life for myself. I told my parents the whole story about Marcus and me. They just sighed repeatedly when they heard it. It's okay, Grace. He's the one who lost out. That's right, sweetheart. Our family has enough money to support you and our granddaughter. You don't have to worry about anything, just take good care of yourself. Marcus and I had been together since college, and my parents had always been very pleased with him. He was smart and ambitious, starting his own company at a young age and becoming a boss. I also thought I'd be happy for life. Until appeared. Only then did I realize that everything I had was what Amber had left over. When we were dating, Marcus would always say, "You're a bit temperamental, just like a younger sister I used to know. You girls are really hard to please." Amber was the apple of his eye, his cherished one. And I was just a substitute, a regret from his youth he couldn't have. Thinking of this, I scoffed and shook my head. I used to naively believe that companionship was the most enduring confession of love. Even if he liked someone else when he was young, as long as I stayed by his side long enough, I would surely become the most important woman in his life. But I was so wrong. You'd never know how much damage the one he idealized could inflict. The first day Amber returned to the US, Marcus locked himself in his office, not eating, not drinking, and not answering calls. I worried and cried anxiously outside his company, but in the end, he just coldly told me, "Aren't you embarrassed? Go home and cry if you have to." From that moment, I had a vague feeling. He and I, after all, were destined to lack that certain connection. And how could someone who's truly meant for you abandon you over such a minor setback? As if echoing my mood, it suddenly started pouring outside. The rain lashed against the windows, drenching pedestrians. I was lost in thought when a familiar car pulled up to my estate. Then a familiar person stepped out of the car. It was Marcus, of all people. He stood outside the estate gate, ringing the doorbell repeatedly, but no one opened the door for him, no matter how much he rang. He was persistent, staying stubbornly by the gate even though the rain made it hard for him to see. I vaguely heard him shouting, "Grace! Grace!" But what was the point of that? When I was standing on 10th Avenue in the US, frozen like a tree stumped by the cold wind, what was he doing? It was just our situations reversing. I called Marcus, not because I felt sorry for him, but because I thought he looked pathetic and didn't want him to cause trouble for our family if something happened, so I called to inform him beforehand. Marcus answered almost immediately, his voice filled with sorrow, as if he were pleading with me. "Grace, you finally called me back, right? You're just pretending about the divorce, right? You're only jealous, right?" He asked such a long string of questions that my head started to ache. I told him impatiently, "I'm just informing you not to make a fool of yourself at our house. If anything happens to you, our family won't be responsible. So I've already called the police, just letting you know. And if you have time, let's pick a date to get the marriage certificate." The sound of rain was still lashing on the other end of the line, but the person on the phone went silent. Marcus and I remained in a stalemate, neither of us speaking. But this time, he was the first to give in. "Grace, I'm begging you, please give me another chance. I truly love you. You're my lawful wife, Grace. I know I was wrong. I'll never contact Amber again. When I see her, I'll definitely kick her far away. Please don't divorce me, don't leave me, you and Zoe, okay?" I looked up at the photo frame on the door. My parent. Loved collecting my photos from all stages of my life, and there was a picture of Marcus and me visiting my parents when we were in college. The people in the photo were naive and innocent, with an unspoken affection in their eyes. I gave a soft laugh, tore down that photo, and threw it into the trash can. "You never told me any of this during our 5 years of marriage, so why are you starting now that we're divorcing? Marcus, for you, is it only what you can't get and what you've lost that's truly best?" He was as frantic as an ant on a hot griddle, incoherently trying to explain himself to me. "Grace, I never thought of losing you. Can you please just listen to me explain properly?" "Explain?" I suddenly found it quite amusing. "What's there to explain? On my birthday, you went to Amber. When I gave birth, you went to Amber. When I wanted a divorce, you still went to Amber. Marcus, even if I were a dog, I'd get discouraged by how you treat me. Stop deceiving yourself. Do you want me to die before you're satisfied?" I said to him, giving up. Sure enough, Marcus on the other end of the line panicked again. "No, I don't want that, Grace, don't hurt yourself." "I know I was wrong, Marcus," a discordant female voice broke in annoyingly over the phone. "Amber, why are you here? I told you to go home. Why did you come looking for me? You wouldn't answer my calls or texts, so I was worried about you and followed you here." I watched this pair of devoted lovers, a little amused by their back and forth. "Looks like you two really know each other well. I certainly can't compare. Amber even knows exactly where you've been." "Marcus, who are you talking to?" Amber's innocent and clear voice came through again. I sneered and hung up the phone. Right and wrong, their arguments, no longer had anything to do with me. Only after hanging up did I realize that my parents, who had gone upstairs to sleep at some point, had been silently standing behind me, listening for a low time. Grace, how could such a big thing happen and you keep it all to yourself? Your dad and I thought you were just having a spat with Marcus, but we never imagined he was cheating with another woman. Your dad will beat him to a pulp. I smiled with relief at my parents. It's okay, Mom and Dad, it's all in the past. He and I are history. You don't have to worry about me. I'm an adult, and I can handle my own affairs. From today on, I would become myself again. I thought to myself, a smile involuntarily spreading across my face. If I was once a coward, then let the current me rejuvenate myself. Although our family wasn't as wealthy or influential as Marcus's, we were at least a family of artists. To prepare for pregnancy and Marcus, and to have a healthy baby, I had even given up my greatest passion, painting. When I picked up the paintbrush again, I felt both excited and emotional. Nothing felt more sacred than that moment. Marcus called me a few more times in the interim, but I didn't answer. Only when Ethan called me to say that Marcus had finally signed the divorce papers did I remove Marcus from my blacklist. Let's go to the courthouse to get the certificate at this time. Okay, you set the time. Tomorrow morning, then. No more delays. The other end of the line fell silent for a long time again. I really didn't know what this man was still hesitating about. In the past, when I clung to him, wasn't he always annoyed with me, finding me embarrassing? Now, who was he trying to impress with this sudden display of deep affection? Is there really no chance for us? The man beside me directly took my phone. Tomorrow, I'll accompany Grace to the courthouse to divorce you, and then we'll get our marriage certificate. Sir, you no longer need to worry about my fiancé. Ethan cleanly and decisively hung up the phone for me. I looked at him with a half smile, but he blushed. Grace, you're making fun of me. I gently touched his flushed cheek. No, I just th. Ink, you're cute. When I met Marcus at the courthouse entrance, I almost didn't recognize him. He looked utterly gaunt and emaciated, completely lacking his former dashing spirit. When he saw Ethan standing beside me, his eyes instantly turned fierce, but quickly shifted to helplessness. The whole process ended quickly. He frankly admitted to his infidelity in front of the staff. That I hadn't expected. You think I brought Ethan today so others would think you were cuckolded, don't you? But actually, Marcus, do you know? I'd rather truly be cuckolded than have any further entanglement or relationship with you. Ethan stood by the car, smiling sweetly at me. Why had I never noticed this puppy dog smile was so sweet before? Wife, I'm here to pick you up to get our marriage certificate. We won't get it here, this place has bad vibes. Okay, fiancé watching, like a defeated dog, returned to his car. I felt an indescribable sense of satisfaction. Sitting in the passenger seat, I curiously asked Ethan, what if you can't find a partner after helping me put on this act? If I can't find anyone else, I'll just find you. You'll have to take full responsibility for me, boss, unless you're planning to renege on your word. The plane trees by the road rustled in the wind. For some reason, hearing that, my heart also felt a flutter. Now that I was divorced, all the shadows from my past with Marcus, let them be completely blown away by the wind. I sent him one last text message. From now on, we're even. Take care. And then I permanently blocked him. To quickly advance my career, I entered the Six Brother art design competition. Six Brother was a dark horse among US-based design companies. They held this competition partly to select excellent designers and partly to increase their brand recognition. Of course, there was another reason. Six Brother was an art brand my parents had created international, and it had only recently been introduced to the US. At the art design competition, I ran into someone familiar. No need to guess, you'll know it was Amber. Coincidentally, Amber and I studied the same major, except she graduated from some obscure foreign university. She was neither highly skilled nor ambitious, living off her family's money and Marcus's allowance all these years. Although I hadn't studied abroad, my art institution was one of the top ones in the US, so I had no idea what she was doing at this competition. I had only just joined the company, and only a few senior executives knew me. When saw me, her gaze held an indescribable malice. That contemptuous and brazen look made me quite uncomfortable. I was quite curious what kind of splash Amber could make in this competition. Having been in the business world with Marcus for a few years, I already knew that Amber had used connections and influence to get in here, and Marcus's help was certainly a factor. She must have known her own design level, so Amber's purpose in coming here was definitely not simple. Just as well. If she dared to pull any stunts, she'd better be ready for me to deal with her. New grudges and old scores, let's settle them all at once. Let's see who has more backing. The competition content quickly began. We each worked on our designs in enclosed individual cubicles. The task for this competition was to design a new logo for Six Brothers IPO. After careful thought, I found my inspiration. The Six Brother brand name comes from a mythical butterfly in Norse legend. It's said that whoever sees this butterfly will have all their impurities cleansed and become a person of noble character. My parents reportedly saw this butterfly during their adventures in North when they were young. That's why they named me Grace. People always say my name is plain. But I never cared, because I knew they would never see beyond the surface, never understanding how beautiful the symbolism of grace truly was. My paintbrush moved lightly, and a few agile, fluttering butterflies danced on the paper. Soon, my logo design was complete. I named my work, Grace. I gave the proctor a signal and left the testing room. Outside the testing room, I silently counted down. 3, 2, 1, Proctor, I want to report cheating. Amber indignantly raised her hand. I watched her quietly from the window, thinking she looked like a clown. The proctor looked at her in surprise. Madam, please don't speak loudly in the testing room, or we will have to ask you to leave. This pathetic and pitiable woman, who relied on playing the victim to please men, didn't even know common courtesy. Today, the proctor looked at her sternly. Given your disruptive behavior in the testing room, your score is voided. With that, he confiscated her paper. The expressions on Amber's face were truly a sight to behold. I'd never had the pleasure of seeing them before. But since she made it this far, how could she just give up? She stubbornly continued to speak to the proctor. Is this how you Six Brother handle cheating? If so, I think it's necessary to report you to the National Market Supervision. Hearing this, the proctor was clearly getting impatient. Amber truly was foolish. How dare she threaten Six Brothers' proctor? I gave him a signal from outside the window, indicating that he should let Amber continue speaking. Kicking her out of the testing room like this would be letting her off too easy. Amber saw her chance and instantly grew arrogant, saying, as soon as I said I'd report you, aren't you scared now? Looks like Six Brother isn't as amazing as they say. Since you're in the US, you should follow US rules. This foolish woman, Amber, how did Marcus ever fall for her? Many of the designers below had transferred from various companies. Amber's words basically offended a large portion of those present. Some designers who hadn't finished their work directly yelled at her in anger. Your score is voided, but we still have a competition to finish. If you're going to leave, why up and go, don't be disgusting here. Yet still didn't know how to rein herself in. In the past, with Marcus, she was always more important than me. Did she think others would make her the center of attention here too? Absolutely not. Because Six Brother was my home turf. Six Brother is nothing but a market for under-the-table deals, with no integrity in its competitions. I'm going to report that the designer, Ms. Grace, just now copied my idea. And to protect her, you're trying to void my competition score. Amber finished, looking quite defiant toward the proctor. I gently pushed the door open and walked toward Amber. This was my first direct confrontation with her, but unfortunately, this farce would soon be over. You say I copied your idea? Where's the proof? Amber excitedly pulled out her sketch. My inspiration is also a butterfly theme. You copied me. I looked at Amber's drawing. It had some skill, but it was just a common, large butterfly that could be seen anywhere. I calmly asked her, just because we both designed butterflies, how does that mean I copied you? Do you know how many people here drew butterflies? How do you even know I drew a butterfly? I strongly suspect you prepared this excuse beforehand to slander me. I clapped my hands softly, and the proctor signaled the staff to play today's security footage on the projector screen behind us. Every individual cubicle under surveillance had a hidden camera, so cheating was simply impossible. And, Amber, we now reasonably suspect you of copying Ms. Grace's idea, and we will press charges on behalf of the company. Why? On what grounds? Amber shrieked hysterically, but her tone was clearly panicked. At that moment, the security footage officially began to play, and the conversation between Amber and a staff member immediately came through. Go to cubicle B82 and check that contestant's sketch for me. When you patrol past me, secretly tell me. I'll give you 100,000 after it's done. Everyone naturally recognized Amber's voice. After all, the woman had been shouting so loudly earlier. And the staff member who played the security footage happened to be the one who made the deal with Amber. His hands were shaking uncontrollably, and he fell to his knees with a thud. Proctor, please. Please let me go. I was truly coerced. She used her connections to get my father sent to jail. If I wanted him out, I had to agree to do this. I'm just a small person, useless. Please everyone, let me go. The staff member spoke with tears in his eyes, every word filled with anguish. Everyone present was moved by him. Amber, at this point, was still struggling desperately. Grace, you just wait, Marcus will definitely come to save me. You're nothing but an old woman nobody wants. What right do you have to compete with me? I truly laughed. I picked up my sketch and lightly patted Amber's face. Instead of putting your energy into men, spend more time on design. Otherwise, you wouldn't even know that Sixth Brother is named after a mythical butterfly in North legend, and what you drew is a native Eastern butterfly, which has absolutely nothing to do with our brand's design. Oh, and one more thing I forgot to tell you. I smiled at her somewhat arrogantly. Starting today, I will be taking over as the chairman of the board for Sixth Brother. Dare to cause trouble on my turf? Unless you have 9 lives. Amber was clearly stunned. She frantically pulled out her phone and kept calling, but the person she wanted to reach on the other end of the line was consistently unreachable. I shook my phone. Ms. Amber, perhaps I can help you call? I called Marcus's phone right in front of her, and unexpectedly, my call was answered instantly. And from the other end came a man's concerned greeting. Grace, what's wrong? Do you need something? I know you were going to Sixth Brothers competition today. Did you run into any trouble? I'll come solve it right away. I stared at Amber's face, which had turned red as a cooked lobster, with a half smile. Slowly, I replied, nothing much, just your dear Amber said I copied her. Copied her? How dare she say that? You were always top of your class in school. How could she, from some obscure foreign university, even be qualified to copy you? Oh, right, Amber also said today that I'm an old woman nobody wants. Did you tell her that? The man on the other end of the line sounded even more anxious. Don't listen to that dead woman's nonsense. I cut ties with her a long time ago. I warned her not to cause trouble in front of you, and I even gave her a chance, but she kept pushing her luck and doing this kind of thing. I'll go take care of her right away. I patted Amber's face again. Did you hear that? Your dear Marcus said it. Amber was completely terrified. I gently replied into the phone, it's fine, I've already called the police. As long as you don't help her in front of the police, I'll be grateful. How could I help her? I'd only help you, Grace. Did you hear that, Amber? Your dear Marcus said, he will only help me. Amber was sent to jail, but I didn't let Marcus off either. He illegally used his connections to help someone without qualifications or background to participate in Sixth Brothers art design competition. His work had recently been a mess, and his condition was very poor. Now with this incident, his most capable assistant had also abandoned him and moved to his rival company. Sixth Brother filed charges against Marcus's company. When representatives from both companies met in court, I saw the man I once loved most again. Grace, did we really have to come to this point? He asked me. I tilted my head and asked him, I moved on a long time ago. Do you remember that, Mr. Marcus? So please, spare yourself these delusional dreams. I didn't send him to jail, because in the business world, with all its intricacies, what could really be resolved anyway? I got a large sum in compensation and significant resources. Marcus said these were all given to me willingly. The last time we met, he asked if he could see Zoe. I smiled and let him come to my new home. Ethan was holding Zoe, who was having a blast, giggling and calling out, Daddy, Daddy, carry me. See? I'm living a much better life now that I've left you. I understand. Grace, if I had a second chance, I would never make that mistake again. I didn't say anything, just looked at the clouds in the sky. Winds change, and so do clouds. I never regretted giving my heart back then, but it's a pity that true feelings can change in an instant. Actually, Ethan was also my childhood friend, just like Marcus and Amber. But I really disliked him when I was little, because he always used to tease me. My parents always taught me, boys will be boys, don't let his mischief bother you. But I wouldn't have it. If he hit me once, I'd give him 10 times worse. Before long, he became my little sidekick. He followed me through elementary school, middle school, high school, and even college. I really liked him, but that liking had evolved into a deep closeness, so much so that when I married him later, it always felt unbelievable. We had an unspoken understanding between us, never explicitly defining our feelings, and my biggest mistake was this. I readily agreed to Marcus when he pursued me. Ethan and I fought for a long time over it. We almost cut ties. Marcus wasn't happy either, because he thought that since I had a boyfriend, I should keep my distance from other men. At first, I was very conflicted, but in the end, I chose Marcus. Ethan told me that because of this, I'd owe him for life. From then on, Ethan and I lost touch completely, until returned to the US. Looking at that pinned contact on my phone, I couldn't resist calling him. Ethan? Tell me, am I truly terrible? Why does Marcus always make me feel like I'm an embarrassment? The man on the other end of the line didn't speak, remain silent for a long time before finally breaking it. Grace, don't cry. In my heart, no man is good enough for you. Marcus and I argued constantly. He came home less and less, and my moods became increasingly unpredictable. It was precisely at this time that I also became pregnant. On the day I gave birth, I called Marcus over 20 times, but not a single call was answered. For the first time, I understood what suffocating pain felt like. I called Ethan again. I said, I feel like I'm dying. I want to tell you my last words. That night, that man appeared at my bedside like a god. He said, silly girl, didn't you even think to call your parents? Holding back my tears, I said, feeling wronged, Marcus doesn't like having elderly people around. He wouldn't let me have my parents stay with us. He wiped away my tears and gently said, he's a jerk, but you're a good woman. Want to see the baby? Don't be sad anymore. If you die, I won't be able to live either. He said these things as if joking, but I couldn't help but take them seriously. But I only thought about it occasionally. Until the day I was abandoned in the US. I told Ethan I really wanted him to come and be with me. He was heartbroken and anxious on the other end. Silly girl, always hiding everything from me. Don't do that again next time, or I wouldn't even know you'd gone abroad. On the day of the divorce, Ethan said, Grace, do you know? I'm a science student, and studying law. It's incredibly exhausting. I was a bit baffled, unsure what he meant by those words. He said plaintively, I studied law just so one day I could help you divorce Marcus. I initially thought that day would never come, but fortunately, fate gave me an opportunity, and you finally saw Marcus for the scumbag he is. Will you marry me? Let me be your rebound. I burst into tears and laughter, exasperated. Who proposes like that? Can't you be a bit more serious? Okay, Grace. To say till the seas run dry and rocks crumb. Blee feels too short, I won't say it. To go to the ends of the earth feels too far, I won't go. A year has 365 days, but I want you by my side every single spring, summer, autumn, and winter. Not just to spend the season of blooming flowers and the extremes of cold and heat with you. It has to be me, and only me, by your side, always with you, protecting you. So, my dear Miss Grace, will you marry me? His eyes sparkled, and something instantly lit up within them. I said, I do. Thank you for watching today's story. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and share it with your friends. We look forward to hearing your thoughts in the comments. Feel free to share your perspectives, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more exciting stories. See you next time.